That brings us to the next report, item E, which is a strategic plan update.
I did embed for you the strategic plan, and I've color-coded some things, so if I can just explain what those colors all mean. The pinkish color refers to work that really was completed last year and is done. The yellow is work that was done the previous year, as well as that kind of turquoise color as well. Those were things that were actually accomplished the first year of the strategic plan. And I just thought it was important that you look at areas that we have been working on. There's still some areas that need work, but I think it's time that we revisit the strategic plan, especially in light of all the initiatives that are coming from the Department of Public Instruction. We need to consider how the two of those blend together. Agenda 2017, which is Tony Evers's educator effectiveness and the Common Core and all of the things that are coming through. But I do want to comment that we have made a lot of good progress in the last 2-3 years in which this plan was developed. If you look at the main categories, recruiting, hiring, and retaining high-quality staff, we knew that we had a large number of retirees coming the last 2 years, and so having a new hiring process in place has been very helpful. And the administrative team is still working on kind of tweaking that and making sure that we are using the program that we have effectively. But overall, we've been very happy with how the system's working, the multi-step process to ensure that we are getting quality staff. When you look at the next item, continuing to evaluate district curriculum and effective assessment practices, currently we have both the IAC committee, the Instructional Assessment Committee, and the RTI committee meetings taking place. And I know as we transition and continue to work on using data to inform our instruction, we'll probably be utilizing our building leadership teams more, along with the RTI committee. The data dig that we had a couple of weeks ago is a good example of that, where it may not necessarily be the Instructional Assessment Committee that's really delving into the report card information, but rather those building leadership teams. So there's still some work that needs to be done in fleshing out how we want the structures to be working, and part of that is coming, again, because of things that are happening at the state level, with getting the state report card that we didn't know was going to be in existence 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So we need to be working on getting all of that aligned effectively. Probably the biggest item that we have not gotten accomplished on that goal is the postgraduate exit interview survey. We still have not compiled that, and we've been waiting in part 2 because that is something that the Department of Public Instruction said they were going to be doing, and we were kind of holding off because we didn't necessarily think we should reinvent the wheel there if they have a system that's going to allow us to track how our kids do when they go to technical or the military post, wherever they move off to. So we'll continue to be talking about that and looking at that. The Comprehensive Staff Development Program, I think over the course of the last few years, we've really done a good job in laying out what our district initiatives and goals are, trying to ensure that we are bringing all of our resources together to focus on those topics that we think are critical for staff development. And as you know, reading is a key concern. Sending people to the reading conference, having appropriate professional development in the area of math expressions at the elementary level has been important. Again, we've established job descriptions for those building leadership teams so that we are getting feedback that goes from administration to our staff at all levels, support staff, teachers, and then they're asked to bring input back. We did a lot of surveys last year to get information on staff on what they needed more of when it came to training, and so we'll continue to follow that process. Strengthening programs and co-curriculars to engage and retain all students to ensure graduation. Again, how are we measuring academic achievement? The District RTI Committee is involved, as well as the IAC Committee, in looking at the assessments that we're giving, coming up with interventions. Mr. Curran last year did do a activities survey with the staff, or excuse me, with the students. I'm not sure if he's reported out on that to the Activities Review Committee, the results of that yet. If he hasn't, it was done at the end of last year. That's something that will be coming up if there are recommendations. We've talked about, again, Mr. Kern has been involved in talking with Mr. Potter about documenting student involvement in programs using our the Infinity system so that we're tracking that better. So those are some things that we're still working on. In regard to making education practical by promoting high standards and basic skills and academic achievement for all students, this has really been a focus as we've looked at RTI and developing the intervention time, the enrichment time. We are continuing to discuss at every administrative meeting how we can make systems changes in order to get different results. And tonight you're going to hear about one possible systems change that we think can help us with our math scores at the high school. But we've talked a lot about the importance of aligning our resources and channeling those resources together in a way to maximize student achievement. And we've also discussed how important it is for people to understand that our staff, our teachers are really at capacity. They are working very, very hard and doing everything they possibly can to help students succeed, but in some ways it's not, it's our systems that we have in place. When we had the same amount of time spent on, let's say, social studies as we do reading, but we're saying reading is critical, then we've got to look at how we're using time. The same is true with the financial resources, all of the resources that we have within the district. So we'll continue to be focusing on that. And then the last goal, connecting families, community, and business. All of the buildings did develop building plans during the start of the 2010-11 school year. They certainly have discussed how to increase parental and community involvement. We've also asked our related arts groups to really focus on that during collaboration time. And last year's Timberwolf Walk, if you recall that prior to one of our football games this year, is a good example of that community partnership where there are a lot of businesses involved and a wellness activity for our whole community. One of the things that's interesting, though, I think we have to make sure, again, that when we're talking about parent, business, community partnerships, that those partnerships are designed to help improve achievement as well, because that's ultimately our goal. So you're going to see a little bit later when we have our next Board Academy, as we look at building improvement plans that have been developed based on the report cards, a community involvement piece that's part of every school. And I think we've got some good tools that we're looking at using for the future to ensure that we are getting community parental involvement that will help improve achievement. So I wanted just to give you an update so that you realize that this isn't something that is just sitting on a shelf. We are talking about it, looking at it, but we also need to, I think, again, discuss this in light of DPI initiatives, in light of our building improvement plans. I know that some of you have indicated that perhaps we want to reconsider our mission, some different wording there. We certainly have never developed any values as well, and many school districts have their mission, vision, and values, so that might be something that we want to involve the community in as well. So the plan would be in February at our Board Academy to talk more about the strategic plan, look at school improvement plans, discuss how to work these together and revise the strategic plan. Are there any questions?
There's a lot there.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you sort of bring it back to our attention. It would be easy to have something like that sit on a shelf. I do think we need to constantly revisit it, reconcile it against what we're currently doing, especially in light of all the changes. And this could easily fill a Board Academy meeting.
But a lot has been accomplished.
Absolutely.
Since we put this together. I mean, when all the highlights that you have on there that you've already worked on. I mean,
It's really amazing that you've gotten this far, but I think your timing is absolutely right.
Yeah, you've accomplished a lot. Now we need to tweak it and move forward with it. But no, you're making it an active, live document. It's not sitting on a shelf. So that's what we wanted. It's accomplishing it.